Michigan and maybe other places, and we want to welcome you today. Cody told me before we came in here that Shaina wanted this to be a celebration, and it is going to be a celebration of her life and love that she had for you and that you had for her. And so thank you for being here today. Thank you for all the kind acts and things that you've done. One thing that we're going to do after this first song that the family has requested to be played is that we want to give you an opportunity, if you have a special memory, if you'd like to come up to the microphone and to share some things, that you'll be given that opportunity to do so. So again, thank you for being here. This first song called 1,000 Years, it meant something to the family. They wanted it played today. And I hope you'll watch the lyrics because they're very meaningful.
Heart beats fast, colors and promise.
For those of you that may be watching online back home, back in Michigan, there was a memory box that was placed in the foyer, and some of the people that are attending to the service today filled these cards out, and we'll be reading some through this service to share some of the memories. But right now, if there's anyone that would like to come to the microphone and get ready to share some of their memories, you're welcome to do so. Let me turn it on. Anyone like to share? Well, while you're thinking, I've got one I want to share with you from this card. This is from, I hope I pronounced his name right, Chris Bordeaux. I hope I pronounced your name right. Did I do it right? Yeah. Thank you so much. At Aurora's first birthday party, the memory that she had was getting in that cake fight. Y'all had a fight with cake? Oh, my goodness. Not knowing that Shaina, for a short time, but she had no problem smearing pink frosting in your hair. So isn't that something? I like the one that Mallory says here. So she shared so many wonderful moments with Shaina. It's hard to pick just one. Every single time, though, that they were together, it was always a good time. She remembered the first time she ever made s'mores. It was with Shaina, and she couldn't believe that I had never made one before. And there was another time when we all went down to Sardis, and just know that I almost made it the whole trip staying dry. And that was a good memory, I'm sure, going down to Sardis. This really shows Shaina's sense of humor. This is from Roger Sterling. It says, I wouldn't call this my favorite memory, but when Shaina was watching my brother, she offered me an Oreo cookie, and she filled it with black pepper. And it was terrible. Thank you, Roger. Do we have anybody that wants to come? I know it's asking a lot. Okay.
I had a little bit of forewarning about this because the pastor and I was talking last night, and he informed me that this was going to come up if anybody wanted to come up and speak. So while waiting on my wife at Target last night for over an hour for her to meet me there to buy Christmas presents, I had an opportunity to sit in the truck and jot down some memories. First time I ever come across Cody and Shaina, I coach Aurora in softball. Those of y'all that don't know it, and when you coach softball, you're together all the time. So you get to know people on a personal level. But the first time I ever met them, I think it was 9 years old. We was playing for another organization, and we were over in Arkansas playing. And I walk up, and there's this guy with this bucket hat on, got piercings all over his face, and he's extremely loud. I thought, and then I look over and I realize which one's his wife, and she's real quiet, and she's got a stern look on her face, like she doesn't play, and she doesn't. She didn't at all. I mean, I'll get into that further. So I was very skeptical, not to mention when he started talking and he didn't talk the same way I did. I knew then, you got to watch them northern people. Don't stereotype people, because you shouldn't, because after getting to know them, it's been a blessing. Shaina wasn't a big talker. The whole time that they've played ball, Shaina's kind of quiet, sits back, listens. But when she does speak, she speaks boldly. And when she does speak, normally it's to Cody, and Cody knows to straighten up. Most people that know me know that I coach loud. I'm in your face. When Aurora started playing ball for me, Shaina was not prepared for that. and we were at a tournament out of town. We were spending the night in hotels. Aurora made it to second base, and I don't remember what she done, but I know she was at second base when she done something, and I lit her up right there on the field. And Cody was gracious enough to come to me and tell me after the game that she's going to kill you after we get back to the hotel. And I was like, I thought that was funny because, I mean, I'm a large person that stuff doesn't faze me a whole lot. So naturally, when we get back to the hotel, I'm going to go see this little woman and inform her of how this works. She was laying down by the pool area, and when I walked in the pool area, I looked her straight in the eyes, and you see those big pretty eyes. They weren't pretty that day. I went over and I sat down on the end of her chair. She informed me that I wasn't welcome to sit on the end of that chair, that I could stand up. And the look in her face, I stood up. And she enlightened me to how she felt about me hollering at her child. After she got through enlightening me how I needed to talk and didn't need to talk, she allowed me to talk. And I stress the word, she allowed me to talk. I felt like when she got through, she was going to tell me to walk away, and I felt like that I probably would have just walked away and kept my mouth shut. But once she gave me an opportunity to let me tell her how I felt about my kids that I coach and her child, she kind of started talking in a different way. The next time I got onto Aurora, she come to me after the game and she said, "If that's all you got to say, you need to be harder on her. She didn't do what she was supposed to do. You get her." So I knew then that I'd won her over. I got to tell you a quick story, and a lot of the people that was involved in this story are here today. We were at Fort Walton Beach playing ball. I believe I'm correct on the location where we were playing. Shaina, it was late one evening. We were all out by the pool. It was time. Shaina had went up to the room, and she gave Cody strict instructions when he needed to come up to the room, and Cody didn't do what he was told. And she called down. He knew she was upset. Now, most of us men, hey, when our wives get upset, we're standing around a bunch of other men. We're 100%. I don't care what she has to say. She can go to bed and I'll be up there when I get up there. Cody's a little different. Cody was 100% sure that Shaina was going to kill him in his sleep. And I mean, and when you say that, you think he's being funny, but the concern on his face was very serious. He was concerned. Well, meanwhile, while we're doing all of this, talking about all this, another mother on the team, Khaki, had cut her foot and bled all in the elevator and bled down the hallway. So Cody proceeds on up to the room, or at least that's what we thought. He chickened out. He didn't make it there. We decide it's time to go to bed, so we make it to the elevator, and there's blood everywhere. And then we kind of get like, maybe he was serious. Maybe she really was going to cut him when he got back to the room. And thank the Lord, Cody chickened out and went to the truck and slept in the truck that night. And come to find out, Khaki had cut her foot, and that was where all the blood come from. It wasn't Cody's blood. And you're going to have to forgive me. I've lost my place. Cody didn't refer to Shaina as Shaina. Most of the time, when he referred to Shaina, he called her Mama. You didn't mess with Mama. Mama was 100% dedicated to Cody and her two children. Shaina worked nights. Matter of fact, her boss is sitting back here on the very back row. And Shaina worked a lot of hours. Most parents would have, on Saturday morning after they worked all night, would have just stayed at home and slept that day. Shaina didn't. Cody got out. He got the wagon out. He loaded everything up. Got Layla situated. Not to mention, when I say load the wagon, Cody and Shaina would bring enough food in the wagon for anybody that said they needed a drink. Cody and Shaina was the first one. We got one. I need some chocolate. They had M&Ms. They were prepared. But that woman would lay in the truck and sleep after working all night. And Cody would go get her before the game started, and she would get out. You could tell she was dead tired, and she was there to support our children. And weekend after weekend after weekend, you would think sooner or later she's got to go get some sleep, you know. But she never failed. She was there. And Shaina was a very dedicated mother, a very dedicated wife. I'm glad that Cody was the night that I went down to that pool area, and Cody enlightened me before I went, and I was just ignorant enough to think that I could bull my way through this situation and go down there and let this little woman with pretty eyes know exactly how it was going to be. The way I coached was the way I coached. Because if I would have really known Shaina and how she was going to scare me half to death while I'm trying to talk to her, I may have chickened out and never went down there. And I know that the day that I went down there and I sat down on that chair with Shaina and she told me how she felt, and she, like I said, she allowed me to tell her how I felt and in my view of children. That was a connection I made with Shaina that day that lasted for many years to come. Never had a question. She never questioned me about the way I coached her child no more. Me and her had found common ground. Playing ball at the level we play and the weekend after weekend after we play is a big time dedication. And I thank Cody for being a part of our family that we have. And it's truly a family, guys. We never stop. Even when ball season's over for a season, we continue to check on one another, make sure each other's all right. I'm going to miss Shaina. Shaina was one of a kind. She is a little woman that carried a big stick. And Shaina's one of those people that God didn't make a whole lot of. When Shaina was your friend, Shaina would go to battle with you no matter what. You didn't have to worry about who had you back. Shaina had you back. And if she told Cody that he could have my back, he would. As long as she told him it was okay, then he'd have you back too. I love you guys, and just know that we're here for you, and we love your kids, and y'all are special, and she won't ever be forgotten. Thank y'all.
That says a lot about Shaina if you can scare Jamie Rappo. It really does. Anyone else? If no one comes, I have something I want to share from Mom, and then Cody has something that he wants to share. Anyone? Is that a hand I see? Come on.
I remember whenever we were in a room, we all had to gather. We were at a softball game, and we all had to gather in this one little room. They were announcing that Anna had to give her something to Zach. And then Miss Shaina had to blurt out and say, "Why does everything have to be so sad? We need something happy. We need something happy. We need something happy to happen." So she blurted out that, and then she said, she looked over at one of the couples on our team, and she said, "How about y'all have a baby? Y'all are the younger ones here. Let's have a baby. Y'all just get a baby. We need a happy thing to happen here." And I feel so bad that she had to go so soon. And that's it. Okay, here you go.
Thank you, sweetheart. Anyone else? I have a card from Mom. Got to hear from Mom. Okay, she says, "All my memories are my favorite, even when you were young and naughty." Can you imagine that? Isn't it somehow our young and naughty years can teach us things? "They made you a wonderful person that you turned into. I love you, Shaina Faye, and I treasure all of them, Mom." And I wish I could read all of these, but Cody said we didn't have to read them all. And I want to be honest with you. Cody said, "I have something that I want to share, but I can't share it. Could you read it for me?" And I said, yes. And so knowing Cody and everything you've learned from Jamie, I thought, well, I was quite impressed, Cody. He is a good writer. I discovered something about Cody last night that I did not know. And what'd you say? Shocker, right? He needs to write more. I was very, very impressed, as you are about to be. 9 years, is that right? Did I read that correctly? You're married? 9 years. And I know it's hard on you. It's hard on the girls. I wish we could take all this back and be back on the softball field like Jamie was talking about. But we're here at this moment, at this time, and it's the words from the ones that you love and care for to help you make it through this day. This is Cody's message to Shaina. "I'm sitting here struggling to find the right words, the perfect words, words that I may have never said when we were together. And I want to believe that the words that I choose will be the correct words, words that truly express my deepest love for you, words that don't need to be spoken because you just knew how I felt about you. I hoped you understood that the first time that I told you that I loved you and really meant that I was yours forever. I was yours till the end of time. I was yours and you were mine. And I'd like to say I was shown a glimpse of our future, but our life together was just beginning. I look back over the time that we've had together, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. You were the greatest person to ever come into my life, and I wish we would have had more time. You gave me a life that I always believed success was. Success was to me was never about being rich. Success to me wasn't about being famous. Success to me was a family, love, someone to share my life with, and you gave that to me, Shaina. You gave me a world that I could only have imagined. You gave me a family. You gave me 2 beautiful girls that have every bit of you in them. You gave me a community of people that once were our friends, but now I consider a family. You were a fighter, my love, and you were not a quitter. You were so strong, brave, and committed to succeed in everything that you did. And I want to remember how focused you were to beat the obstacles that you had in front of you. I hope you felt all the love and support that everyone had for you during these past few years. I hope the girls know how very proud you are of them, how you love them with every beat of your heart, and they were your light. They were your fight to come home. I hope the girls know that this isn't goodbye. because you are still alive in every memory, every story, every constant reminder of you. I hope the girls know that any time will help to ease the pain, that there was no other place in this world that you would rather have been but with them from sun up to sundown. This isn't goodbye, Shaina, because how can I say goodbye to someone who molded me to be who I am today, molded me to who I'm going to be going forward, molded me to love unconditionally your two beautiful girls, molded me to not forget about the past because it shapes our future and brightens our lives. I love you for everything that you have changed about me. I love you for every memory that we created and the experience that we shared together. I knew how much you loved me, Shaina, and I hope you knew how much I loved you forever and always. And he said, I would like to end this with a poem. From the first time our eyes connected, I didn't need to hide. I knew instantly from that moment I was meant to be by your side. From then I knew as the days, months, years would pass, that every second of time we shared would be majestically greater than the last. Many years have gone by since those vows have been spoken, as my promise to you was for your heart never to be broken. My greatest gift I can give you is to love you till the end. You're the reason I live. You are my best friend. Your gorgeous face, your beautiful eyes, the way you lay your hair, how you always smelt so sweet, and your looks, I struggled not to stare. Baby, I want to say I love you. You mean the world to me. Baby, I want to say I love you. I couldn't imagine where I would be. Shaina, I love you so very much. You are the love of my life. I leave with goodbye for now until I see you in the afterlife. One of the reasons I was kind of shocked that Cody could write something so beautiful is the first time that I ever heard the name Cody Cervantes and the Cervantes family was in the gym where the family was going to have a meal just a little while later. It's about 5 years ago, and we were having a cornhole tournament. If you don't know what a cornhole tournament, ask Cody a little bit later. But we were inside the gym, and we had a whole bunch of cornhole things that we were going to play cornhole with. And we were doing a benefit for the Madonna Learning Center, which is a place in Memphis for adults and children that have learning disabilities. Cody came down with his family to be a part of that day and brought him a teammate. He entered into the cornhole tournament. And I was to be the judge and the referee, and go around and make sure when a team got eliminated, they go off to the side and then, and get there. And so we're beginning the tournament, and we're playing cornhole. And you hear the sound of the bags falling onto the thing and everything. But there was this one sound that was just echoing all over the gym. And it was this northern Yankee-like accent. And the guy was going, "Do your job, do your job." And we kept hearing it and hearing it. I had people come up to me and going, "Who's this? Who's saying this?" We couldn't figure out it was so many people that we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And finally they narrowed it down to Cody. He didn't sound like the rest of us. He didn't even look like the rest of us. And that whole thing was, that day was, who's this guy saying, do your job, do your job? And in the guy that was up here earlier, Jamie Rappa, we finally figured out he's the guy who knows this guy. And so we went up to Jamie and we said, what about this guy? And Jamie says, oh, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. And I'm glad to say since that day, began a wonderful journey with Cody and Aurora and Layla and Shaina of meeting the Cervantes family. And you might be wondering how we all that's how you ended up down here in Red Banks today, is that we've had this wonderful journey with them through the years. Did you win the cornhole tournament that year? You got robbed and took second, okay. That tells you another thing about Cody. He is a competitor, okay? He likes to win. But while we were at that tournament, we were beginning upward basketball in this community for kids. It was going to be our first year. And went up to Cody, and I was impressed with Cody once I met him, even though, he had that accent and do your job, and I like people who believe in doing their job. And I went up to him and I said, Cody, we'd love to have you. Could you coach, because he loves, and Jamie had told me that he said, oh, I'd love to. And I've seen a lot of coaches come and go in my years of doing upward ministry and sports with kids, and Cody's is one of the best ones we got. You really are, and I don't just say that to anybody. He knows the game of basketball. He knows how to coach, and he knows how to love on kids and command their respect. And he even, believe it or not, he's pretty respectful to the referees most of the time. Most of the time, he's respectful to the referees. And I thank you for what you have meant to us over the past 6 years. You've been an inspiration to us. Even in these last couple of years, as you've walked through some real dark valleys with Shaina, this guy has shown up, helped practice with kids, and helped be with. I know you had a tough time balancing being with Shaina and being with Aurora and Layla, and I know that's been tough on you, but you have been a wonderful example about trying to do those things. I know that sometimes your heart was torn to be in Houston, other times to be here, and I just thank you for your faithfulness to Shaina and to your girls, because you knew you had to love them, because Shaina loved them, and Shaina loved you, and you loved her, and this is what makes our heart break today, is because her memory's with us, and the stories that we tell and everything, but she's no longer with us. And that's kind of what I want to help you with a little bit today to the family. I know I've only met you briefly, and you don't really know me, but I have, over 40 years, I've been with a lot of people sitting where you're at right now. And I know pain and I know grief. I've seen a lot of it. And it hurts my heart to see people hurt. And I just want to take a few moments to give you some hope today. Maybe give you some things. Grief is such a hard thing, Aurora. I know there's days you want to laugh, other days you want to cry, and you can't believe what's going on. And grief is kind of like a fog. It's going to lift some days, and it's going to come back heavy some days. There's going to be a song you're going to hear. There's going to be something on the radio, and you'll be walking down the supermarket and remember being maybe a moment that Mom picked up and grabbed a box of something, and you're going to remember it, and all of a sudden you're going to just start crying, and everybody's going to wonder what's going on with you. Grief is like that. It comes and it goes, and it's something that and you've been grieving already because of the cancer and the things that you've seen her have to endure through. I just want you to know that you're loved. One of the things we do in upper basketball, and Cody's heard this, is we get all the kids together and they're sitting down there, and I'll ask them, I'll say, look at the end of your finger. And all the boys and girls will sit there and they'll look at the end of their finger. And we'll ask them, what do they see? and they'll look. And I've done this many times over the years, and I've been amazed at some of the answers, but the boys are the worst. One little boy looked at the end of his finger, and I said, "What's at the end of your finger?" And the little boy said, "Dirt." That's not the answer I'm looking for. The girl's invariably going to get it right. If you say, look at it real close, and they'll look at the end of their finger, and they'll say, a fingerprint. And that's the answer I'm looking for. And I'll tell the boys and girls, I said, you know what that fingerprint says about you? Even the FBI and the CIA tell us this. There's no other person on the planet that's got a fingerprint just like you. No one. Now, in the world, sometimes they try to convince us that we're kind of here by accident, but I don't believe that. I think we're here for a purpose. And that fingerprint tells me that there's a purpose. And it's a hard world we live in. I don't understand why we have terrible, bad things happen like that happen. And I've seen so much over the years. But I know that there's a purpose in all things for some reason. When I heard Cody years ago say, "Do your job, do your job," I thought, what is my job? What is your job? For what purpose are we here for? Why do we exist? Why are we given this precious life, which these moments should remind us how precious life is? Every time I have to do one of these, I walk away feeling grateful to have another day to live and another day to love. What is my purpose here? What is your purpose here? What's your job? What is it we're supposed to do? A man greater than all of us gave us that answer. There's a lot written, books written. The manual I use to go by life is what we call the Bible, but even it's so complex and mysterious at times. But this great man, who we celebrate this time of the year, his birth, took that word and boiled it all down to just simply two things. Two things. That's our job. And I want to give the second one first. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. One thing I've seen over the last 2 years since Shaina got sick is I've witnessed a lot of people loving each other. Haven't you? Many of them are in this room. That's what we're supposed to do. That's our job. And it doesn't stop here today when we walk away. We keep loving each other. You have felt their love. And one reason you, your family, Aurora and Layla, have felt that love is because you loved. You loved. And I want to thank you for that. I don't know why we live in a world of hate and anger. But we do. Part of it's because the hatred and the anger is here because of something that's within us that's not right. And the one who gave you that fingerprint knew it was not right. And so he came, that's what Christmas is about, to show us how to love. when we're not capable of loving. One thing that makes a marriage great is that self-sacrificing love. Cody knows about it. Shaina knew about it. Because it takes sacrifice to love a husband and a wife and love your kids. It takes sacrifice to raise your kids. And that sacrifice, he taught us, for greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends and his neighbors. That man taught me that. And he's still teaching me that. And his name was Jesus. The first thing he told us our job was, those two things. He boiled it down just to two things. Love your neighbor as yourself. The first thing, and it's what enables us to truly love our neighbors in the right motives and for the right reasons. He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. You know, the key word there in that verse is the word all. He says it 3 times. And what that means is passion. All, passion. And one thing I know about the Cervantes family is they have passion. They have passion. When you meet the person who gave you the fingerprint like no other, and you discover that he has a job for you, and he boiled it down to 2 simple things: love one another and love the one who created you and gave you that fingerprint. You do it passionately because he did it passionately. He gave you everything he had. When Aurora steps on that basketball court, and Layla too, and their dad's going to be in the gym, and Shaina would be there and on a softball field. And the one thing I think y'all really poured into your 2 children is passion. They could sense it with you and feel it with you. And it's a joy to see it. It really is. And I just want all of you to know that the God who loved you so passionately that he would lay down his life and give everything he had for you. For greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for one another. We owe it to him to love him back. The days ahead are going to be hard for you. But there's one who will help you through those days. And I'm praying that you will look to him. I'm going to close with a prayer. And then we have, I know Dad's here, and we have a song the family wants to do. And I saw there's a video that goes with that song, and we want to play this song. And it's called She's Somebody's Daughter. And I have 2 daughters, and this song, I'd never heard of it till last night. And it really touched me. Shaina was somebody's daughter. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, you tell us that you would bring comfort to us when we need it, even when we don't expect it. I pray your comfort would come to Cody, Aurora, and Layla, and all the family, Father, and the friends that are hurting right now. I pray that you would give them a peace that passes all understanding. I thank you for Shaina's life. for her love for Cody and her love for her girls. I thank you, Father, for the fact that she was a fighter, that she lived life passionately. She was not a quitter. My favorite picture of her was the picture that had cancer on the shirt but crossed out. And today, we would be tempted to think that cancer won, but cancer did not. It did not. Because the measure of a person is not how they die. The measure of a person is how they lived and how they loved. And I thank you that Shaina loved and that she was loved. So give grace and peace as we face the days ahead. Thank you for the one who gave us everything. Jesus, it's in his name I pray. Amen.
She's more than just a pretty face in a late night bar, more than just a pair of tight jeans sitting in your car. She's more than a last call kiss or a one night stand. Remember, boy, you weren't the first to hold her hand. She's somebody's daughter, she's somebody's everything. She's somebody's little girl, even if she's grown up and moved away. She's somebody's whole world, she's somebody's baby. And if you don't treat her right, hers won't be the only heart you're breaking. She's somebody's daughter. Her daddy bought her first car, taught her how to drive, scared her senior prom date under that porch light. Her mama wiped away the tears from my first heartbreak and said, honey, he ain't good enough for you anyway. She's somebody's daughter, she's somebody's everything. She's somebody's little girl, even if she's grown up and moved away. She's somebody's whole world, she's somebody's baby. And if you don't treat her right, hers won't be the only heart you're breaking. She's somebody's daughter, she's somebody's daughter. She's a picture on a mantle up above a fireplace. She's pigtails blowing out candles on a birthday cake. She's a driving off to college, tear in her mama's eyes. Yeah, she's a daddy's girl, better treat her right, 'cause she's somebody's daughter. She's somebody's daughter. Yeah. She's somebody's whole world, she's somebody's baby. And if you don't treat her right, hers won't be the only heart you're breaking. She's somebody's daughter, she's somebody's daughter. Yeah, she's somebody's daughter. She's somebody's daughter.